This week I'm installing a new solar light in the chicken coop, and as requested I'm going to give a little update on the coop as well, and see how everything's holding up so far. In my last chicken coop update video I had installed the new roosts, the feeding tubes, and the watering system. I'll put a link on the screen for that one, and a link in the description below. And if you want to see how the coop was built, I'll include a link for that as well. We have some new chickens this year. These pullets are just starting to lay their first eggs. This one here was trying to make a comfy spot in the nesting box until I barged in and stuck a camera in her face. She didn't quite know what to make of it. But these older hens are never shy about showing their displeasure. The new additions to the flock are Buff Orpington and Light Sussex Cross. They are quite large already, and they're really friendly and an adventurous breed. We've seen these young ones farther from the coop than any of the older ones ever choose to go. I think the older ones know there's safety near the coop, and maybe these young ones haven't figured that out yet. During the winter, when the days are shorter, we keep a light on in the coop until about 10 p.m. That's chicken bedtime in the winter. We usually run an extension cord out to the coop and plug in a timer to manage the light during the winter months. The trouble is, I don't like the cord on the ground all year round. There's a serious risk of running it over with the mower. So I have a couple of choices. Find a way to run a cable permanently, either underground or up on poles, or I can try a solar light. And that's the option I went with for now. If this doesn't work as planned, then I may have to go to the permanent cord option. This was very easy to install. There's a bracket included that attaches to the side of the coop, then a really long cable that goes into the light inside the coop. It also comes with a stake for the ground if you wanted to mount your solar panel there. The roosts that I put in here last year are holding out very well. They stay a lot cleaner than the last ones did, so hopefully this means there'll be fewer bugs in the roosts. The new feeding tubes are a lot easier to keep full than the old hanging feeder was. Instead of going into the coop to fill the feeders from the can, we can now just reach into the feeding bin and fill the feeders right there. The chickens were using them in no time, and for a long time they used them correctly. But lately they've been digging the feed out of the tube and letting it fall to the ground, and then scratching through it, and eventually they eat it all. But I may have to look into some way to prevent them from dumping their food all over the floor. This year we've had the hottest summer that I can ever remember. Everything is bone dry, so the watering system has not been doing its job. But not because it doesn't work, we just haven't had any rain to speak of in the past 2.5 months. Without rain, I fill the barrel with the hose. It's still much easier than our old system. All I have to do is fill it once and it lasts for several weeks. I've had several of these drinking cups leak or break, and when I ordered more, they're a little bit smaller than the others and didn't fit at all. I think the chickens have plenty of watering cups already, so rather than replacing the cups, I just plug the holes. I also had to change the cover I put over the inside watering cups because the chickens were roosting on it. And I changed the trough under this as well. This one now drains to the outside. This was meant to be just a drip tray, but sometimes the water was dripping in too much and it would not dry out. So I put a little drain hose to the outside, and now it just drains away any extra water. The really dry weather has had another unwanted side effect. We've had a lot more flies around. So we hung up the bug zapper in the coop to try to reduce the flies. These flies can be lethal to the chickens. I won't go into details, but you can Google fly strike if you want to learn more. It's disgusting. We lost 2 chickens this summer and a third was infested as well, but we were able to save her. We also had some raptor attacks here in the fall, so we put up some netting over the chicken run. But it's not really ideal. There are plenty of gaps, and it doesn't extend all the way to the end. But it has stopped the raptor attacks. It's also way too low for me to get around in there, so I'm gonna have to come up with something better. But that's for another day. I also want to deal with this gate while I'm at it. Before the coop was here, there was a duck pen in this spot, and the gate was part of that pen, so it's getting really old. I reinforced it a little bit when I made the chicken run, and it was holding up pretty good for a while. But now it's getting pretty weak, and I plan to tear it all out and make something much more solid. The mini coop has served us well again this year. The new chicks moved out of the brooder in the barn to the mini coop once they were fully feathered. And then once they were almost the same size as the rest of the flock, they were put into the big coop. Everyone's mingled together now and the transition was really smooth. Having the young ones in the mini coop close to the main flock, but protected from them, seems to really help a lot when it comes time to integrate the new birds into the flock. In a separate video, I'd added this automatic chicken door. This is one of my favorite additions because we no longer have to come out here each morning and open the door, or come out each night to close it. The door was really easy to install, so I highly recommend it to anyone considering an automatic door for their coop. Click here to see how the coop was built.